Hello, and welcome to The Beat, a news and talk program brought to you by the Center for Community Media at Worcester State University. This introduction has been pre-recorded for future episodes due to the unforeseen circumstances that the pandemic may bring. We hope you enjoy this segment.
Would you mind telling us and our viewers the main functions of the student government at Worcester State University?
Yeah, so what first of all, hi everyone. My name is Anna Johnson. I am currently the student trustee at Worcester State University and a member of SGA, which is student government at Worcester State. So the function of SGA at Worcester State is basically to help advocate for students and to bring student voices to the tables and to conversations that student voices are needed. And another function of SGA is to also help with budgeting for student clubs on campus. So SGA handle a lot of the finances for student clubs on campus. So like they handle budgeting, and we also handle, clubs. So like if you want to create a new club on campus, SGA help you put together a charter. SGA, you bring those back to Senate where it's voted on. So student government do a variety of stuff, but most importantly, they are student voices on campus.
So what is your current position in the Student Government Association?
As I said before, I am the student trustee.
So recently there's a freeze on the student fees for 2021 and to 2022 academic school year. How did this decision come about, and what was the SGA's involvement?
So the decision came from, it was basically the president's idea. So he called me one day and he was like, "This is the idea I have, and I'm going to bring it to the board, and I'm hoping for your support as a board member, so the board of trustee." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is a really good idea." So I brought that idea back to student government at the time, and when I heard the news about the tuition fees and needing student support was relatively late. The timeline was short, so I talked to the chair of SGA, and we came together and brought the executive team of SGA together, and they wrote a statement in support. And as a board member, when I went to the board, we submitted the statement of support from SGA, and I also added my voice because part of my job on the board is to advocate for students. So that is my job. So being a student trustee, I knew I was already going to advocate for students, but I also thought it was important to have the support of student government on the board if we're advocating for something that affects all students on campus. And if part of their job is advocating for students, I thought it was important. So talking to the chair, he brought the other executive members together, and we're able to draft letter of support for the fees freeze, and I brought it back to the board, and I also advocated on the board as a board member for the fees freeze and voted for the fees freeze.
So how can other students get involved with the student government at Worcester State?
So student government have their meetings every Thursday at 4:00, but students can also run to be part of SGA. Students can email SGA. They have their email address that is so they can email SGA. They can follow SGA on their social media pages to keep up with the work SGA is doing on campus.
And then are all undergraduate years represented in the student government?
Yes, from freshman to senior. I started being an SGA member when I was a freshman. I started off as a student senator, so I got elected as a freshman, and continue. And then my junior year, I got elected as student trustee, and I'm re-elected again as student trustee for my senior year.
And how often do student government elections take place?
I think it takes place every semester. So to give everybody the opportunity, both freshmen, transfer student, to give them the opportunity to serve on the board. And another thing about student government is that even if we're not electing and we have a space that is open, the SGA president can appoint people to those seats. So if a student wants to be a part of SGA, but they came late in the process or they missed the application deadline to run, SGA presidents are usually accommodating and at appointing students to SGA position when there is space on the board.
So how does being a part of the student senate affect a student's college experience?
I think for me, I'll speak from my perspective just because I think that it helps me to understand college more. It helps me to understand the administration more. I think a lot of us come to college sometimes and we don't really understand our administration. We don't really know steps our administrations are taking. For me, being a part of Student Senate allowed me to do that, allowed me to have these these conversations with people in the administration and knowing people that can actually help me do the work. So whenever, I need something, or when, this student comes to me and like, oh, Anna, this is this, I know who to talk to, and I know the people to reach out to first to make sure that that is settled. So yeah, I think that it just opened those avenues for you to be in communication with the administration, but most of all for you to be able to have a voice. So like, we sit on different governance committee as being a part of SGA. So, faculty, student, and administrative committees. And I think that that is super important because when there are decisions made, SGA members are a part of that decision. We get to vote on those decisions on behalf of students.
And then what are topics that are usually discussed during SGA meetings?
So SGA meetings have a variety of topics. So we discuss about everything. And I think a lot of the time is focused around what students want to hear. So sometimes we bring in career services when students want to know more about what career services does. We bring in, different offices on campus that affect student day-to-day activities on campus. So like, we bring in counseling center, or we bring in the student affairs centers when students have so many questions. We bring in Title IX, to talk about the process and how students can get involved with different activities on campus. And sometimes we also bring in the president's office so that when, when there are tough conversations on campus or tough topics on campus that students really need answers to, we bring in the president to help answer those questions. And the president is usually, willing to always be there to answer those questions. So like, when pass and fail, we talk about pass and fail at student government. So we talk about almost everything, but I would say it depends on what students want to hear. So like, as leaders, we go out, we listen to people, we listen to what students are saying, and we come back and making sure that we're bringing those people to the table to answer those questions.
And then is there anything that you would like to add students to know about student government that we haven't already covered?
I think we basically cover all, but I just want students to know that student government is there for you 24/7. Student government is there to listen to you 24/7. My email is open, ajohnson25@worcester.edu. I'm open to listen to your concerns, and if you have complaints or stuff like that, I am open to listen to it. Student government doors are always open. We used to have office hours as exec board members or as SGA members, but because of the pandemic, we don't have. But the SGA email is open, the social media is open. Bring your concern. If you want to be a part of SGA, if you want to serve your fellow classmates, or if you just want to use your voice on campus, join SGA. We are open to you. And I think it's important that you know that there are students back there that are fighting for you, that are advocating for you on the daily.
Thank you for watching this segment of The Beat. Please remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We will see you next time.